Okay, last category on this list. Trying to sneak through the kitchen exit, or somewhat likely teams to make the college football playoff by 2026. These are the teams who could find themselves walking onto the dance floor out of sheer luck and or bravado because they had it to walk through the kitchen door like they own the joint. Again, pie in the sky, but you can see the tools are there, right? I'm not putting Hawaii on this list, for instance, right? It ain't happening for Hawaii. I'm sorry to all three of the Rainbow Warrior fans out there, but the team that I have at the top of the list on this segment and number 7 overall is Oklahoma State. All right, it makes a lot of sense. Perhaps the only program in the country where overachieving is a way of life. OSU has continuously done more with less and been quite proud of it, quite honestly, right? Mike Gundy has never stumped for inclusion in the college football playoff, and Pokes fans seem just fine with competing for Big 12 championships while a retroactive national championship hangs in Boone Pickens Stadium. For those of y'all that do not know, I have to just put you on game. It ain't to shade Oklahoma State, although it's going to act that way, and I understand if you want to take it that way. Inside of Boone Pickens Stadium, there is a banner that says 1945 national champion. Now, those of you who are college football historians probably know Army is mostly cited not just as the 1945 national champs, but that 1945 team being one of the greatest college football teams of all time. And I believe that this Oklahoma State squad had like 3 losses, right? But they were retroactively awarded a national championship by the AFCA a couple years ago, about 5 years ago, when they went through the motions of just going to see who had an opportunity to claim one that probably got overlooked or passed over. And this didn't go right. And then they put it inside the stadium and now a joke. But all to say, they have an opportunity to make it not a joke, right? We saw this in 2021. They had a great season, and they fell quite literally 6 inches short of a Big 12 championship and possibly being included into the college football playoff last year. Gundy's been on a tear for 16 years. I mean, they've won 10 games 7 times in those 16 years, never suffering a losing season with him as a head coach. That is remarkable. I mean, Mike Tomlin, the Pittsburgh Steelers, comes to mind. Probably the only time I'm ever going to put Mike Gundy and Mike Tomlin in the same sentence. So 2022 is doing something new to all of us. But the thing that I think, I'm going to speak for me because Oklahoma fans are probably going to get pissed about this. They already feel some kind of way about me continuing to claim Oklahoma. But if Oklahoma State had the talent that Oklahoma had or has, say, past 15 years, they'd probably be just as good. And that should scare you if you're an Oklahoma fan. Does me, right? The idea that Mike Gundy somehow decides to start recruiting like a top 5 program. Yeah, that'd be tough. That might tip the balance of power. There, I said it. Go ahead, flame me, Oklahoma fans. All right, number 8 overall on this list is Florida. Look, like USC, Florida was a power in the late 2000s. Urban Meyer combined generational coaching talent and recruiting acumen with legitimate stars to, win national championship 2006, 2008. Dan Mullen had him close in 2020. Came off the rails in the SEC championship game, but they were close, and you always know that Florida's going to have an opportunity. The reason they're so much lower on this list than some is Billy Napier's in year 1. They're somewhat rebuilding, but we'll see how that goes. Plus, that's still Georgia's division as far as I'm concerned. But Napier is a Saban acolyte. Feels like he's building his program a lot like him, but he wouldn't be the first Saban acolyte to try to do that. The bet that I'm making here is on Florida's culture, quite honestly. And then next on this list, yes, we finally get to Texas. All right? Texas is back. Or they would be with a CFP invitation. You know what I'm saying here? Like, it's there. Like, it's the easiest joke in college football to make the Texas is back joke, all right? But it kind of sucks because since the 2009 BCS National Championship, they haven't been very good. They've been mediocre. They've actually been bad in some cases. They've won 10 games just one time since 2009. and they needed 14 games to do it, right? That's that 2018 squad. They've enjoyed one more winning season since 2009 than they have losing seasons, 6-5. Like, ugh. They've also been through 3 head coaches during that period, right? Mac Brown, Charlie Strong, Tom Herman, Steve Sarkisian, right? It's just, well, that's 4. Golly, man. But the reason Texas could be here is recruiting and coaching. They have the number 1 or former number 1 overall recruit in the 2022 class before he reclassified, become the number 1 overall recruit in the 2021 class. Quinn Ewers, right, transferred in. Bijan Robinson is a Heisman candidate, right? Xavier Worthy might be the best wide receiver in the Big 12. They also added Isaiah Nair from Wyoming, who had 44 catches for like 878 yards or like 13 TDs, right? They've added dudes. Jaleel Billingsley, who I really love, former Alabama tight end, comes in, and people are like, so what's the big deal? The big deal is Nick Saban let a tight end named Jaleel Billingsley return kicks in a national championship game. You show me another tight end that's returning kicks at Alabama. That's the big deal, right? And Steve Sarkisian knows what he's got over there. It's about Pete Kwiatkowski and that defense, right? It's always about defense in these cases. But you got to get past Oklahoma State, and Baylor if you're Texas, right? That's not going to be easy for them. But they could certainly be there. You added wide receiver coach in Brendan Marion, right, who helped Jordan Addison win the Biletnikoff Award at Pittsburgh last year. Again, you got dudes. You could put up 50 a game with this offense. It's just, can you stop other people from scoring 50? And then next on this list, I'm going to get shade for this, but I don't care. Nebraska. That's right. I said it. Nebraska. Look, I'm going to lay this out for you. I'm Nebraska fans. I'm not toying with you. I believe this. It's Scott Frost, who I believe in. I know it ain't been going well, but you got the dubious honor of being the best 3-win team in the history of college football last year. You were in every game. You had Scott Frost remake the entire offensive staff, and it's kind of staggeringly good. Former Pittsburgh OC Mark Whipple, who had the Heisman finalist in Kenny Pickett, probably first-round draft pick at quarterback, along with Jordan Addison, who I mentioned. You also added Mickey Joseph from LSU, who put together one of the best, if not the best, wide receiving core in the history of the sport. Jamar Chase, Terrace Marshall, Justin Jefferson. Those are all his dudes. He's at Nebraska now. You add Brian Applewhite, who was at Texas Christian last year, coach Zach Evans for 2 years. The dude at Ole Miss, who also averaged better than 7 yards per carry. Okay? Zach Evans is basically rushed for 1,000 yards on 146 carries. Okay? You're also adding pretty doggone good quarterback as far as I'm concerned. I like Casey Thompson. I've always liked Casey Thompson. I got shade for having him and Bijan Robinson as one of my tandems in the preseason last year. And they were like, RJ, he didn't even start. Did he finish? You also add Chuba Purdy from Florida State. Yes, his brother is Brock Purdy. I think he's going to be good at quarterback. I think he got the tools here. O'Shawn Mathis is going to join up in the summer. Dude had like 16 and a half tackles for loss. Like, it's ridiculous. If it comes together, Trey Palmer, wide receiver, if it comes together, it's coming together in a big way. The other bet I'm making in here is absolutely on culture. Nebraska is one of the best college football programs of all time. Okay? As a matter of fact, I wrote this down, and I want to make sure I say this right. From 1962 to 2003, Nebraska never suffered a losing season and won at least 9 games back when we played 10 or 11 tops in every season except 67, 68, and 2002. That is a 40-year stretch of excellence, okay? And they also have this really impressive streak of like 60-plus years of sellouts. Now they needed donors to pony up last season because they weren't filling up the stadium because, well, the product wasn't very good. But they look good. They look like they got it together. And it's Lincoln, right? I got this place in my heart for the Oklahomas and the Nebraskas of the world. The reason is those are the pro teams. Like in Oklahoma, we got the Thunder. But ask people what they're doing on Saturdays if the Thunder are playing. Go ahead, ask them. Nebraska ain't even got to deal with that. It is absolutely Nebraska football. You get the College World Series, in the offseason during the summer, but come July, they know what time it is. Now, they've always felt a little out of sync in the Big Ten, and I think that's contributed to just how difficult it has been. It's just the culture shock. They're still getting used to it. They still don't really know who their rival is. Like some of the kids, when I asked them last year, was saying Iowa. Others of them are just kind of looking around like, what am I supposed to say here? Is it Oklahoma? Is it Texas? I think that's coming to an end very soon. But they got to get bowl eligible first. I recognize that. Okay, next team on this list for me is Penn State. Okay. Maybe no team has been crushed more by Ohio State than Penn State in the last 10 years. I mean, Penn State, Lord bless them, they didn't have a conference, and then they picked the Big Ten. And Ohio State was like, oh, really? Us? You're going to pick us? And then you had these divisions. And they're in a division, not just with Ohio State, but also with Michigan. And they got the land grant with Michigan State. Maryland is good enough to beat them from time to time. Like, it's not an easy place to play football right now. And despite all of that, they won a Big Ten championship in 2008 and in 2016. 2016, they were forced to take a Rose Bowl bid. Just didn't make the playoff. So with James Franklin there, they're making a bet, got the 10-year extension. They've been able to play solid defense. They've been able to recruit really well. Micah Parsons, Saquon Barkley. We'll see what it looks like, right? I think they can get here. As a matter of fact, they might get there before Nebraska. And then finally, the end of all of this, for me, is Miami. Hurricanes hit the reset button again, 22 coaching cycle. They decided to go get Mario Cristobal from Oregon, who went to the U, who understands the U, who was there during their glory years. And they've got a low-key all-star staff, starting with their coordinators, right? Kevin Steele, respected defensive coordinator in the SEC. And then 2021 Royals Award winner, Michigan offensive coordinator, Josh Gattis. And Wolverines, with him as the offensive coordinator, win their first Big Ten championship since the Bush administration. W, not H, in case you want to get cute. And their first ever invitation to the CFP. So I'm betting that magic travels, right? Josh Gattis was great at Alabama. He's good at Michigan. I think he could be great at Miami as long as they do the U. And what I mean by do the U is, Broward, Dade, rope off South Florida. That's yours. You can't be letting Lamar Jackson leave South Florida. That can't happen. Amari Cooper can't leave South Florida. That can't happen. So I'm saying, if you can put the fence around it the way that Howard Schnellenberger was able to put the fence around it, the way that Jimmy Johnson was able to put the fence around it, the way that Dennis Erickson was able to just keep it together, and the way that Larry Coker just kind of looked around and said, man, I got Ed Reed. I got Clint Portis. I got Willis McGahee. I got Ken Dorsey. Why don't I just let them dudes do what they do, right? I think Mario Cristobal understands all of that and then get it back to going. Thanks for watching this video. And remember, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos on the #1 ranked show YouTube channel.